If you want to be intentional with the wealth God entrusted to you according to your abilities, then watch this biblical budgeting binder setup. This is not just cash stuffing. This is being dependent on God's daily provision for our lives. So before I cash stuff, I make sure that I write my calendar of bills. I'm sorry I can't show you this because I have already written my tithe. My tithe is between me and God, and whatever I give is between me and God, so I cannot show you. But first of all, before you cash stuff, is to write down all your bills. What bills come out on what paycheck. Then after knowing what bills comes out of what paycheck, then I cash plan. First is the wealth, which God instructed us in Proverbs 27:23 to know the condition of your flocks. Give careful attention to your herds. This is me knowing how much is coming in and how much money to allocate towards bills and necessities. So let's look at my binder, my biblical budgeting binder, which I call Kingdom Binder. The very first category is seed, which is the tithe comes out first. So of all my money, the very first act of obedience is giving my 10%. So if I get paid $2,000, then I will budget $1,800 because 200 goes to tithe right away. If I get paid 1,500, then I'm budgeting $1,350 because tithe comes off first. The next area I'm stuffing every first paycheck of the month is my offering. Offering is a reflection of your heart. This is your decision to give. Don't give reluctantly or in response to pressure, for God loves a person who gives cheerfully. So this is optional. Don't think that you must give an offering because 1 Timothy 5:8 warns us to provide for our own household. If this affects you and your family for giving your offering, don't do this. This is optional. Time may come that you will be able to give tithe and offering. And since you are just starting to give your tithe, I strongly suggest you don't do an offering yet. Next category is the storehouse. I'm putting away some money to store up in our storehouse as to not be the fool that spends whatever I get. And God says that in Proverbs 21:20. I can put in $5, $10, it doesn't matter as long as I put in a little bit of money to my family's storehouse, which is our emergency fund. And that was tested this week because our air conditioner stopped working and it needed a $600 repair. So that is why it's very important that you store a little bit of money every time so you don't go in debt every time there's a repair needed in your house, in your car, and any kinds of emergency. The next area I have in my kingdom binder is provision. As the Lord said in Psalms 23:1, the Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. So the first envelope in my provision category is the daily bread. As I stuff this envelope, our groceries budget, I'm asking God to give me neither poverty nor riches, but give me only my daily bread. And the next area that I stuff every time I get paid is the going, because the Lord keeps watch over my coming and going, both now and forevermore. The next area I stuff every time I get paid is haven. As I stuff this, I am trusting in the Lord's protection. And the last envelope in my provision category is the reward. For the Lord search my heart and examine my mind to reward me according to my conduct as my deeds deserve. So let me go back, because the going is for our gas budget, the haven is for our home expenses, and the reward is for the spending. This is a guilt-free money that I can spend, that we can spend whatever, however I want to. The next category I have in my kingdom binder is the mountain category, as God warned me that I have stayed long enough at this mountain to make a plan to get out of debt and be free from being a slave to the lender. Then my next category is the overflow, which God said in Ecclesiastes 6:9, enjoy what I have rather than desire what I don't have. So this is my bank account. Everything automated, every auto pay, every bills that come out of my bank account, it is in my overflow category. So you won't see me stuff this. I calculated the bills that comes out of my bank account every paycheck. So I leave that amount in the bank. So every time a bill comes out of there, there is money in that account. And the next binder that I have is the foundation binder. As it says in Proverbs 10:22, the blessing of the Lord makes a person rich, and he has no sorrow with it. So when God blesses you, it's because he loves to bless his children. There's no strings attached. God is not saying, I am blessing you right now because you're doing good, and I'm not blessing you because you're being bad. No, God is blessing you because he loves you. So that's my foundation binder, which is in the budgeting community. They call this the high priority binder. It is very important that I stuff those envelopes. That way I don't use my credit card when I need to spend money on them. So set up your binder today, and don't be the sluggard that God is talking about in Proverbs 26:13, who is full of excuses. You can go to Dollar Tree and buy this 50 count envelope and buy this notebook for writing your budget, and just buy, I'm sure you have a pen, but if you don't have a pen, they have $1 pens that you can buy. $3 you can start today. Your first category, your tithe. Every time you get paid, make sure to give your tithe. If giving 10% is heavy for right now, then start small, but make it a goal that you give your 10%. In the Bible, tithe is 10% of all your income. Your next category is your emergency fund. I call mine Storehouse. You can call yours Storehouse, but you can call your next category your emergency fund. You can put $5 in there every time you get paid, and over time that will accumulate. Don't touch that when you have any kinds of cravings. This is not for non-emergency, you feel like an emergency situation. That is for real emergencies. And your next category is groceries, food related. So, I call mine daily bread. You can call yours daily bread, as Jesus said in Matthew 6:11, give us today our daily bread. Every time you stuff this, you will remember that God is the provider of all your needs. And if you're just starting and it gets confusing, put spending instead of dividing your spending categories to gas, home expenses, all that. If it's not food related, then it will be in the spending category. Then your next category is your mountain. So a lot of us, we pay our bills online. I pay mine online, but every time I save money from my provision category, I put it here because my big goal is to pay off this debt that I have. If you've seen my video last week, you will see how I set up my paying off my debt plan. So if you have any savings from your groceries and spending category, put it here and repay your debts. Or you don't want to pay debts, you want to prioritize your savings, then you can put that here too. But for me, my big goal is to pay off debts. And then your next category will be your high priority sinking fund, which Christmas comes around every December 25. A lot of us, me included, get so stressed out that I don't have money for gifts, which I know every year December 25 is Christmas Day. I've used my credit card in the past, and now I am making sure that I put away money little by little for Christmas. And another thing is, I know my car, if you drive, you know that car registration comes once a year. Don't let yourself be in debt for the expenses that you know will come. So put a little bit of money every time you get paid, like the birthdays. This is very embarrassing, but on my 40th birthday last year was my eye opener to start to get a hold of my finances, because we had to use credit card for my 40th birthday. Like, who does that? And I was really torn up when we had to put my 40th birthday dinner celebration last year, put it in a credit card. I was heartbroken when we had to do that. I started looking on how to get better at my finances. And the word of the Lord came February of this year that I have stayed long enough at this mountain to stop being in debt is what God told me, because I thought being in debt is just the way of life. It's everyone has debt. I don't care who you are, is my thought pattern. But here God is telling me, Proverbs 21:20, the borrower is the slave to the lender. So if you owe anyone money, you are a slave to that lender. And God is telling us to be free. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have found value, consider subscribing. I encourage Christians to tithe first, then budget.